Alright, welcome to the video. SIG guy here, and this one we had to dig out of the back of the safe. This pistol here has not seen the light of day in probably about 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't even remember, but this is the P250. For those of you not familiar with the P250, this is basically what the 320 came from. So this was SIG's modular design, their first go at it, where you have your serialized fire control unit inside, and then all the other parts basically you can get right off of eBay, no FFL required or anything. So all factory grip module here, the god-awful ugly trigger that they had in it, takedown lever, everything on here is stock. What we're going to do today is going to bling this out a little bit and add some Armory craft love to it. So I apologize that the printers are loud in the background. Anyway, so DAK, basically a mile-long trigger pull and a mile-long reset. So we'll kind of demonstrate that here really quickly. First, we'll make sure we are visually and physically safe. Chamber, no magazine, breech face, look away, do the same thing all over again. We're working on a safe firearm because we're pulling the trigger here. So we'll demonstrate the trigger here just so we can see how much of an improvement the Armory Craft trigger upgrade is. We have a bunch of slop here that really isn't even doing anything besides making noise. And then we have a mile-long trigger pull, heavy trigger pull, and we'll get the wheeler on it here in a second. You can see it's kind of hammer fired. And then our slide wood rack, and then our reset. You're going to hear a click at first, but that is not the reset, and I'll show you what I mean. Right there, that little click. That's not a reset, because I can pull it, and it's not doing anything. Okay, so basically we have to go out quite a bit more than that. That's our reset, and then we can pull it again. So not a very desirable trigger, not at all. But in my opinion, this pistol is actually the one that I learned to shoot on, and I actually break it. I used to break it out before the 320 to teach people actually how to trigger discipline, because you know when you hand somebody a pistol and they're shooting it and they expect it to go off, well, they dip. They're anticipating that firearm to go off. So this one here has such a long trigger pull. I mean, you can catch them pretty good if they're gonna do any dipping or anything like that. So I love it. It's actually a very accurate shooter and everything. It's just the trigger pull is ridiculously long. So let's get a trigger pull weight here, and then we'll start with upgrading it with some Armory Craft goodies. Alright, so I don't believe this trigger is actually going to reduce the trigger pull weight. We'll see when we get it in. I don't think it's even advertised as such, but I want to get I don't think I've ever even done a reading on these triggers, so we have something to compare it to. So we'll do 5 pulls, do an average, pulling back, slow and steady, middle of the trigger. £7, 0.8 ounces. And when you're doing your trigger pulls, you want to pull back very slow. This is not going to make the numbers higher because there's only so much force you're using to pull that trigger back. The way it can be manipulated is if you pull it back too quickly, now momentum is reducing this number and you're not getting an accurate reading, okay? So sometimes when you see somebody with a really light reading, they're not pulling the gauge back slow enough to give the accurate reading. They're snapping it. And then the momentum's decreasing the number. So anyway, we're going to add that. We'll do 5 pulls here really quick. Enter that one. 8.1. We'll enter that one. Same thing, we'll enter that one, and we'll do one more. £7, 9.6 ounces. Our average is £7, 5.9 ounces. So let's get the Armory Craft trigger in it. Again, we'll just give you a visual before and after. Just trying to see exactly how much pre-travel we have in here. Quite a bit of slop before the trigger's even doing anything. You see the hammer's not moving at all. So we want to get rid of that, okay? And again, our reset is a mile long. That's the reset right there. So we're going to remove our slide, takedown lever, get our FCU out of the grip module, set that aside, and then this is just like the 320. Okay, it's a little easier than the 320 actually, because you don't have a sear housing that the end of that leg of the trigger bar goes into. So again, we're just going to lift up, out, and pull it back. We're going to push our trigger forward, which puts the arm way back, so we can remove that, just like that. And then we'll grab our Armory craft trigger, and we'll slide that in. We're going to get the trigger bar hole onto the pin of our trigger. I'm pushing with this finger here, and then you got to line up this hole on this side so that pin can go through it, just like that. Okay, and I'm squeezing this together right here so my trigger bar is captured. And all I'm going to do is kind of use my finger to push the trigger back as I move my trigger bar and put it right into position. Okay, squeeze it all together. We can actually do a function check right here. Everything works fine. Okay, so your trigger bar, if the spring here, if that comes undone, that's not an issue. You can actually put this one on a lot easier than the 320 just by hooking it on here. It's a lot more forgiving than the 320. Alright, so on our Armory craft trigger, it is adjustable. We have a hole here on the bottom. This Allen wrench that they have provided goes right through that hole and goes into a screw right underneath right there. Let me turn on the light here. You can see that hole, the Allen screw right in there. Okay, so what that Allen screw is going to do, it's going to push. You can see it right in this gap here. It's going to come through and it's going to push on my FCU, this part right here. And it's going to move my trigger back and remove all that pre-travel. Okay, so this is a lot easier to do like a primary adjustment without it in the pistol, because in the pistol you can only do like an 1/8 turn at a time. So I'm going to tighten this up, and you'll see right here the screw will contact the frame. See, it's hitting right now, and I'm going to go an extra turn to remove the pre-travel. That might be too much, but we'll adjust it once it's in the gun. So I can actually do a little test here. Works. There's actually no pre-travel at all. I'm going to actually back it off a little bit. If you over adjust, your pistol's not going to reset, so you can't over adjust it too much. Okay, it's going to work or it's not going to work. So we're going to put it into this grip module here. I'm not a big fan of the factory ones. To me, this here is really thick. I don't like it like that. So we got the X grip here with the extended mag release. Got a mag well on there, all blinged out. So don't forget the 320 and the 250. Everything's interchangeable for the most part. Not the stuff back here in the FCU, but all your accessories and stuff. So we're going to push back, slide it down in there, and then we're going to get rid of our factory takedown lever, and we're going to put the sport takedown lever in Armory Craft. Okay. See, there's no pre-travel. We're going to make sure our guide rod is centered. Alright, so let's move on to adjusting this. So the adjustment's super easy, okay? And right now there's a little bit of pre-travel in there. Not much. What we're going to do is we're going to adjust this up basically until it won't reset, and then we're going to back it off a little bit. So when we fire the pistol, we'll hold the trigger back, we'll rack the slide, and there's our reset. Okay, so it functioned fine. I can actually make this tighter. So we're going to use the small end of the Allen wrench, put it into the screw, and give it a couple turns here. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll fire it. Still resets, so I can go tighter. Fire it. See, it didn't reset, and now I got a dead trigger. So that means I'm a little bit too far. Okay, so I'm going to back this out just a hair. Still didn't reset. Back it out another hair. So it's right on the edge the first time. See, you want to make sure you do it multiple times to make sure you don't have any issues. So this is going to be a recreational pistol. This is not an everyday carry or home defense or anything like that. If you're going to be using it for those intended purposes, I would leave some pre-travel in here, so that way you're going to guarantee it's going to reset every single time. At the range, I don't care if it doesn't reset once or twice here and there. I do, but I can actually fix it at the range, and my life's not on the line and stuff like that. So, and then you're going to want to put blue Loctite on this screw before you're going to take it all the way out before you put the trigger in. We're going to put some blue Loctite on there, okay? And then we're going to run it in there, and then we're going to do this whole procedure, and then we're going to let it set overnight for 24 hours to let that blue Loctite harden up a little bit, and it's going to keep that screw from walking in and out, okay? So right now, it's exactly like I want it, and zero pre-travel. So it's not moving at all, and as soon as I move it, my hammer starts to move. Okay, so there you go. That's zero pre-travel in the Armory Craft P250 trigger. I am very surprised that they actually developed this trigger. It is pretty awesome, actually. Very impressed, and it's excellent quality on this one. Excellent quality. So let's do a trigger pull test here for weight and see what we got. Alright, so let's do our 5-pull average with our Armory Craft adjustable trigger in our P250. The beauty thing about a flat trigger is you can actually place your finger comfortably lower on the trigger now, which is going to increase your mechanical advantage, which will lessen the amount of force needed to pull that trigger. Leverage, okay? So I will be putting the pad on my wand right on this, in the middle of this flat section here, because that's where I would place my finger when I'm shooting it. So we've deleted all our data. We'll do a 5-pull average here. 6 pounds, 2.7 ounces. 6 pounds, 3.5 ounces. 6 pounds, 2.9 ounces. 6 pounds, 5.8 ounces, and one more for 5. 6 pounds, 1.3 ounces. So 6 pounds, 3.2 ounces for our 5-pull average, which 759 was our previous one. So we're over a pound difference just by adding this trigger in there. And as you can see, no pre-travel. I absolutely love it. I am very surprised that Armory Craft actually developed the trigger for this. I am thankful that they did, as well as all their other upgrades. So we have our sport takedown lever, extended mag release, mag wells, all kinds of stuff. Even all the 320 accessories will fit your 250s. I have all this stuff on my website, sigguy.com. As always, I appreciate you guys watching my videos. If you're not a follower or a subscriber to my YouTube channel, give me a like button right down here. If you could smash that baby, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great weekend.